on it, I realized that the biggest educational lie I have ever heard probably came from my mom. My mom was a steadfast believer of encouraging education. Like every typical affectionate mother, she had utter confidence in me and never ceased to instill me with that very same kind of confidence. She had this amazing knack of making even the most minute things sound one of a kind. She would tell me that the mole on my face is a special mark that nobody else carries, and she would cherish every single one of my crayon doodles like they have just been taken down from the walls of the Louvre. Now when I look back on it, I'm amazed by the amount of self-esteem a simple, exaggerated compliment can foster. I never stopped believing that I had the unique qualifications for achieving something unprecedented. When I was little, my parents used to bring me to visit my relatives on holidays. During one of their after-dinner conversations with children, my parents' typical parental pride would be sparked as they turned to me and asked, "Honey, can you play piano for Auntie? Or can you show us how much Chinese poetry you can memorize?" Those talent shows would usually escalate beyond just talent shows of my own. Tension would rise between us as our relatives respond by making their children demonstrate singing or dancing skills as if in a dramatic showdown. It never dawned on me why my parents would routinely make me compete with other kids, or if my highlighted talent of being able to memorize 10 poems was actually that special. But I happily played along. Being able to outshine other kids earned me simple rewards. Recognition from the people around me throughout my childhood as that unique kid, destined for great things, as my kindergarten teacher once said in an exaggerated way. As a mature adult, things turned out to be quite the opposite of what I expected. Out of 100 of the people that I know, probably like 20 of them know how to play piano, 30 more know how to draw, and 15 drew even better than me. I hated noticing the fact, as if the very acknowledgement of it cracks my brittle ego and my sense of uniqueness. My academic strengths too, that I was once so proud of, no longer stand out as much as I wanted to be. There are people in this very school who define academic excellence by taking 5, 6, or 7 APs and ace all of them with a snap of a finger, and then there's me, who takes only 3 APs and 1 artist class and already hears the brain cells dying. I can easily find classmates who are funnier, more sociable, who control the stage better than I do, and those who always engage in all kinds of extracurricular activities. While during most of my extracurricular time, I just want to stay attached to my bed. I had to accept that the very things I thought would make me one of a kind are in fact not so unique after all. And that acknowledgement felt horrifying. Sometimes I look around me, I see my amazing peers accomplishing great things, and I wonder to myself, man, who am I? I'm like everybody, the average non-average. I'm probably the opposite of what I expected of myself, and my parents would at last reluctantly find in me the very thing they avoided recognizing. Mediocrity. Averageness. And let me tell you, being average in this society feels even worse than being just bad. Because you're not so great to the point of getting the acknowledgement you deserve, and you're not so awful either that you can simply have a sense of humor about it. This applies to many scenarios. Let's just say you're in a Fortnite match. After the match, you and your friends will probably marvel at the champion for being that good at gaming, and joke that the competitor in the last place should go back playing Minesweeper. Like you, people tend to pay great attention to these extremities, but often neglect the middle field. We don't always talk about who's in the 12th or 24th place in the competition because, to be honest, to us, it doesn't seem to make that much of a difference. And that's the standard that the society has instilled in us. That there are only 2 facets of life. One either wins or loses. And those in between must get to either end of these poles in order to receive some kind of acknowledgement, whether good or bad. In our highly competitive high school culture, it's as if mediocrity is equated to failure. We open TED Talk, we open YouTube, we see all these amazing inspirational speakers on the stage delivering their speech. And no matter their personal story, their central idea will always be telling you to push yourself, break your limits, utilize your potential, and achieve something outstanding. Some even seriously try to analyze the reason behind mediocrity and advise people how to avoid it, as if not being the most exceptional in a community is a symptom of some kind of illness. I don't deny that actively improving oneself with a positive mindset is important, and that we should constantly strive to become better. But the majority of us, even after pushing that limit and attempting to become outstanding, will find a disappointment that we are still, well, more or less in the middle. We are that middle tier who, after hard work, might jump to the 12th place from the 24th in the competition. It's better, but it still lies in the category of average in the public's perception. And yet, in the middle of all the debates, I say mediocrity should be accepted too. Let us take a moment to think about our lives. Essentially, what are we pursuing? You might answer love, money, cars, houses, but eventually it's the appendage. It's the sense of content that we are after. So here's the question. For the people who are regarded as outstanding in our society with prestige, money, social status, are they necessarily more content with their lives? The answer is unlikely. An analysis done on a survey conducted by Gallup World Poll, in which more than 1.7 million people across 164 different countries participated, suggests that people feel the most content when they have a median income of $65,000 to $75,000 per year. Above this average, with more income, people actually tend to experience more stress and problems such as more taxes, more social responsibility, and the endless pursuit over an even better quality lifestyle. The middle ground for happiness and quality of life lies right in the middle. Academically too, a student's happiness isn't always proportional to academic excellence. A study done by Cambridge University in 2017 indicate that the most crucial factor to a student's future success is not necessarily academic performance, but rather resilience, the ability to bounce back. The individuals who are able to succeed are the very people who can recover quickly from the obstacle and promptly adjust themselves for the next one. The saying time is money might be a little exaggerated, but time can certainly mean opportunity. When we allow ourselves to be overshadowed or defined by a failure, others may be using it as a shield to protect themselves from the next potential failure. And we need to acknowledge that no matter how excellent or outstanding an individual might be, there will always be times in life when one makes mistakes. It is part of the human experience to fail and to make errors. And to cope with these mistakes and make the best out of them require not only mental intelligence, but emotional intelligence as well. It is in fact the least resilient people who often attempt to associate the feeling of content with the positive feedback they acquire from others. Because this is such an easy source of satisfaction, and being brittle as it could be, a devastating one too. I would say it is detrimental to always compare yourself to other people, to crave constantly to be the best in the crowd, the most beautiful, the most wealthy, the most academically capable, when the truth is, well, you don't need to be the best at something to be great. Think about it. Our everyday life is filled with simple beauty, mundane miracles that are often overlooked. Biology itself is a miracle. Every ordinary organism we see around us survived millions of years of brutal natural selection to be here. And it is averageness that helped them. Governmental will tell you that, evolutionarily speaking, the very average traits that they have are the most successful traits that guarantee their survival. In life too, we should excuse ourselves from the competition sometimes and take the time to find ourselves, to love ourselves, and to accept ourselves. We might find mediocrity, imperfections, good or bad traits, but it is those very traits that constitute who we are. So, what's the fun in being mediocre? When we see not only the prettiest of photographs, but also acknowledge the one not so pretty. When we see not only people who run to the finish line first, but also those competitors who came behind them. When we give the friend who earned the 24th place in the competition a pat on the shoulder and tell them good effort, we are retrieving and affirming the reality and the right to still be at times imperfect, average, not exceptional after giving our best effort. We are voicing and highlighting that mediocrity and telling the world that there are more than just two facets of life. And these individuals in the middle should not be neglected, discriminated against, or viewed as failures, but rather accepted in the very same way that we accept the imperfections in ourselves. And remember, it is perfectly fine to do so. Because we don't need to be the best at everything in our lives in order to be content, successful, and most importantly, loved by those who matter to us the most. Thank you.
Let's have a big round of applause for all three of our speakers today. They've shared some very important messages with you, and I hope that you are feeling inspired to make more proactive choices yourselves. Thank you for quieting down. I want to acknowledge that